Video number 1 of NeckFix and Chillin with Dr. Dillon. And this requires a bit of an intro. You might be wondering what's this whole thing all about. And I'm going to tell you, it's not just about the neck. I'm going to teach you stuff for the shoulders, the mid-back, the low back, the hips, the core. And we're going to start with some simple stuff, so you don't need to buy any fancy equipment for this. These are movement sequences that every person should be able to do pain-free. I don't care how strong you think you are. If there's any issues in any of these motions, they need to be addressed. So just follow along with me during these movements, and I'm going to do each one of those exercises, each movement, 4 times, each direction. And you can watch these videos multiple times if needed to see the form and to hear the explanations again. I do this one for neck every single day, as it takes less than 5 minutes and it feels great. Like with anything, if something hurts, please stop immediately. Let's get started.
The first move we're going to do is cervical protraction and retraction. We want these movements to be smooth and pain-free, so go through them slow to avoid injury, but you're stretching your head forwards and backwards. Next is cervical rotation, turning your head as far as it will go, both directions. Now feel for the tension in all of these stretches and notice where you feel restricted. You'll come back to that later. Next is lateral flexion, bending your ear all the way to the shoulder, straight to the side, both directions. You'll want to come back to these places that feel tight, like I mentioned earlier, but you'll also notice how much better they feel when you're done. After lateral flexion is flexion extension, dropping the chin all the way towards the chest and then looking up towards the ceiling. Nice and slow and smooth. After that, the movements are going to get a little bit more complicated because we're going to be doing things like flexing the head down and then rotating it both directions, fully 4 times each direction. After that, always going back to your neutral, you protract the head forward, extend it backwards, and rotate fully both directions. If there's any pain with any of these, obviously don't do them, but you should be able to go through these ranges of motion no problem. Next is lateral flexion and then rotation. So you're bending your ear to the shoulder and then turning your head as far as it'll go towards that shoulder and then finding your neutral. Always going back to neutral between each direction. Always going back to neutral between each side. Now we're going to flex the head forward, rotate all the way to one side, and extend all the way up, and then back down. 4 times each direction, but then we're going to rotate to the other side and do the same thing. Then we're going to do the same stretch, but first extend the head back. Rotate all the way, and then flex up and down, up and down. Always doing both sides, always feeling for the tension. Now, one of the last stretches is neck circles, and people do those all the time in stretching. It's not an uncommon stretch, but this is one of the best and safest way to do it, and it ties perfectly into this routine because it ties all the combos together. You're bending the head down, rotating all the way to the side, extending backwards, rotating over, flexing it back down, finding your neutral. Again, always doing both sides. And then you're doing the exact same stretch, starting off in extension, where again, we protract the head forward, extend it backwards, rotate it to the side, bend it down, full range of motion, just like I was doing in the previous stretch. The very last one is upper cervical circles. That's the last part of this sequence where it's kind of a free flow thing. We're just trying to move our upper cervicals in little circles. I actually feel a little stuck in this plane of range of motion. I'm pretty sure my C1's out of alignment right now, so I better get checked by a chiropractor soon.